Hello students, so again another special session where we will speak about some basic rules of grammar. Okay, so last time you remember how we discussed the rules on, do you remember that, do you recollect that? The rules on active and passive, right? So that time itself I said that we will be having more sessions like that, and we will discuss a little more on basic principles so that the exam CUET 2023 is going to be easy for you. Okay, so this time in this session we will discuss whatever you require for the topic direct and indirect speech, or what is the other word or one more title is used for indirect or reported speech, any term could be used. Okay, so direct and indirect speech, you need to know some of the rules, not everything, because you know that if you touch a topic, definitely you have to go into deep and you have to it's also big, also huge, that you will not be able to complete it in a session like this. But whatever you need, the basic things, only those things will be discussed in today's session. I will not give you much trouble. Okay, that is the point of what I said. Okay, now coming back to the topic direct and indirect, you need to know what exactly is direct and what exactly is indirect speech, or what is the other name given for indirect, reported speech. Okay, now one example, with example it's better to come to the rules, otherwise if I tell you all about the theory part, it's going to be a very boring session. I don't want to end up with that boring task for you. So we will have an example with the help of which we will try to find out the rules by ourselves together. Okay, so even if it's not a kind of interaction between the two of us, but still I believe that you can follow what I say. So one very simple exam, a very simple exam. She said, comma, then within double mid commas, or you call it as speech marks. Okay, I am busy now. She said, I am busy now. Okay, now the thing is, suppose if the same thing, whatever she has said, if that was to be that message, that whatever she said means I am busy now, if that is to be conveyed as a message to another person, we can follow two techniques, or we have two options. The first option is to quote the exact words of the speaker exactly like this. She said, I'm busy now. That means we are quoting the speaker as it is without any change. Okay, so suppose if you want to convey the message of the speaker, so here the speaker is she is a speaker, and her message, what is her message? I am busy now. Okay, so if that message, if suppose I want to convey this message of that girl, that lady, to another person, I can have two options. I said, first option is I have to say exactly what she said. That means I have to just read this out. She said, I'm busy now. So if I quote the same words of the speaker without any change, that's what you call direct speech. That means I'm quoting the person or the speaker directly. Okay, so that is direct speech. Now suppose I said I have another option. I have two options. One of the options is already discussed, that I can quote the lines exactly as it is said by the speaker. Now what is my second option? I can convey the message in my own words. I need not quote the exact words of the speaker. Instead, I can convey the same message but in my own words. And how can I do that? Slight changes are to be made in the first sentence, and then I'll be getting the second option to convey the message of the speaker. Like, she said that she was busy then. So this is my second option. So first option is I can quote the exact words to the speaker, and that would become direct speech. Okay, now I don't want that particular method. I don't want that option. So I will go for the second option. What is that second option? The same thing is conveyed, but not quoting the speaker, but I just made some slight changes and I have used my own words. But the message is that of the speaker, not my message. Whatever is the message conveyed by the speaker, I have conveyed it. I as a mediator have conveyed it to another person using slight changes. That means I used my own words. And if such changes are made, you call it as indirect speech or reported speech. Got it clear? So with this example, it's clear whether the speaker intends to quote directly, that means indirect speech, or if it is in one's own words, it would be indirect speech. Okay, now that is the two types of speeches. Now, like what all changes have I made to change direct into indirect? Have you noticed that? Okay, so the first change that I made is I removed the inverted commas. These inverted commas are removed. Okay, so the first change that I made was I just removed the inverted commas. So that is the first thing that I have to do. Then the second thing is, the second change is, say here it was the pronoun I, because those were the words, direct words to speaker. So that I, that pronoun has been changed to she. So I is also changed and that has become she. And these speech commas or commas, inverted commas, double inverted commas have been removed. Instead of that, I used a connecting word, a conjunction, and that is the word that. So what was the first change? I removed the inverted commas. Instead, to replace those commas, I used that. Okay, the second thing is the pronoun I has been changed to she. But that is not the only change. Two more changes are there. See, I am busy. Am busy is simple present tense. Simple present. What is the tense of the verb? Simple present tense, right? So simple present tense got changed to simple past tense. Okay, so simple present tense got changed to simple past tense, and now changes to then. In fact, most of the things in the direct speech, those things have been changed when I got that into indirect speech. The same sentence in indirect speech, but then all those changes are made. Okay, so let me repeat. So what all changes are there? This is direct speech because these are the lines said by the speaker directly. So it's direct speech. And how can you identify it? You can go for the inverted commas. If those things are visible, it's evident that those are the words of the speaker. That means it would be direct speech. Okay. So in order to change that into indirect speech, the basic things required are remove the commas, inverted commas. Instead, you use a conjunction, a connecting word, that. Okay, then the necessary changes in the pronoun, that also should be done. Then the tense also is changed. The tense, all present tenses changed to corresponding past tenses. Okay, that we will speak about those rules also one by one. Okay, so tense changes there. Then the word now changes to then. All right, so we have to keep in mind the change in pronoun, the change in the time denoting word, and the change in tense. So these are the basic changes that we require when you convert direct speech to indirect speech. Okay, now another thing is, before we proceed to the next step or the next rule, see in this sentence, okay, in this sentence, I'll just rub these things off so that you will not have any trouble. Okay. Said, I am busy now. I just wrote the same sentence again. See. Now, this is direct speech, no doubt. Okay. Now, the thing is, whatever comes before the inverted commas, that means this particular verb, this is a verb. It's a verb, right? It's an action word. It's a verb. Speaking, said, means saying. It's a verb. So, you call this as the reporting verb. Keep that in mind firmly. You call this as reporting verb. Okay, understand this. In direct speech, okay, whatever comes that the verb comes before the inverted commas, this one, it's a verb, you call it as reporting verb. Now, why do you need to know the labeling of this word? The reason is when you proceed to the rules, you need to know if any changes there regarding the reporting verb, that would make changes in the reported speech also, in the direct speech also. Okay. So, this particular word, this verb is called reporting verb. Okay. So, keep that word in your mind. In direct speech, this verb is called reporting verb. Okay, that much is clear. Now, since I told you this term, I mean reporting verb, I will be using this frequently. So, do not get confused. Reporting verb means the verb which comes before our inverted commas. Okay. Now, the first rule you need to keep in mind is, see, all present tense, this is the first rule. Okay. First rule, present tenses. Present tenses, all present tenses, okay, in direct speech, when you convert it into indirect speech, all present tenses change to corresponding past tense. Corresponding past tense means what? I'll tell you that. Corresponding past tense means, one example is simple present tense changes to corresponding past tense means simple past tense. I'll give you examples. Okay. Then present continuous. Present continuous changes to corresponding past tense means what? Past continuous. I'll just give the short form to save time. Okay. Then similarly, if it is present perfect, okay, present perfect, it changes to corresponding past perfect. Past perfect. Exactly likewise, the fourth point, if it is present perfect continuous, I'm just giving you the short forms, it would change to past perfect continuous tense. This is the point elaborated. The same point has been elaborated. Okay. Present tenses all will change to corresponding past tense, like simple present tense to simple past, present continuous to past continuous, present perfect to past perfect, present perfect continuous to past perfect continuous. Okay, with examples I guess it will be clear. Otherwise, if only rules are said, definitely you will not understand. It will be hectic for you. So, we will have it done using some examples. Okay. One example which we have seen right now is the best example given for converting simple present to past tense. Okay. The same example that will be easy for you to follow. See, simple present tense changes to simple past tense. Like the same example, she said, I am busy. Same example. So, when you change this, you know it is direct speech because the exact words are quoted, inverted commas are found. And what do you call this word? I said this word is called reporting verb. Okay. So, now how will you change that into indirect speech? She, what all changes are to be done or made? Remove the commas and add that. Then the pronoun change, I changes to she, and this is what you call simple present tense. Simple present tense. So simple present tense changes to corresponding past tense. So simple present should be changed to simple past tense. So I am busy, that means she is busy. It should be changed to she was busy. Got it clear? So that's how simple present tense changes to corresponding past tense, that is, it changes to simple past tense. She said that she was busy. Okay, now another example is, she said, I am just giving you simple sentences so that it will be easy for you to understand. If I give you a lengthy one, it would be all complicated. Okay, you'll be tired of all those things. Rules, we all hate rules, right? So, she said, I am writing notes. I'm writing notes. Okay. So again, when you convert it into indirect speech, the other changes are to be made, removing the commas, adding that, and pronoun change, etc., that you know. Okay. Now the thing is, I am writing, what tense is used? Present continuous tense. Alright, present continuous tense. So right now we have seen the first rule, that all present tenses change to corresponding past tenses. Just like simple present tense, when you convert it into indirect speech, it changes to simple past tense. So exactly same way, if it is present continuous, it must change to past continuous. So how will you change this? She said that she was writing notes. Okay, so bit by bit, if you learn the rules, things are going to be easy for you. Like the point is, when we refer to all those rules together in a single session, you may find it as too long, too lengthy a session, but still, like if you focus on the things which are said in the class, definitely you'll be able to grasp, and it's going to be simple. Okay, so she said that she was writing notes, so you have changed present continuous to past continuous. Okay, likewise, if it is present perfect, it should be changed to past perfect. For example, like the same sentence, she said, I am writing notes. She said, I have written notes. Suppose if it is, she said, I have written notes. So let me make that changes. I have written notes. Okay. So I have written notes. That means this sentence is given with the tense present perfect. Okay. So how will you make it into past perfect? You need to make it into past perfect. Why? Because according to the rules, all present tenses should change to corresponding past tense. Okay. So she said that she have written, present perfect changes to she had written. Had written. Okay. So present perfect changes to past perfect. Alright. Now suppose, what is the next type of present tense? Suppose if it is present perfect continuous tense. Okay. So if I use the same example, it's going to be easy for me and you both. Okay. So I have been writing notes for 2 hours. Actually, I'm supposed to write 2 as TW or 2, just for convenience that I wrote it as in mathematical figure. Okay, so how will you change? The point is, how will you change? She said that she have been writing is present perfect continuous, which should be changed to past perfect continuous. That means she had been writing notes for 2 hours. Sorry, this comma is to be removed, right? When you write, do not commit the same error. Alright, so that those commas are there for direct speech, not for indirect. Okay, so she said that she had been writing notes for 2 hours. So whatever was in present perfect continuous, it should be changed to past perfect continuous. So once again, what was the first rule that we have seen right now? When you change direct to indirect speech, all present tenses should be changed to corresponding past tenses. Corresponding means exactly the same point in past tense, like simple present tense changes to simple past tense, then present continuous changes to past continuous, present perfect to past perfect, likewise. Okay, so that was the first rule. Okay, now we spoke about all present tenses, how these present tenses got changed to corresponding past tenses. Now what if past tense is given? What should be the change? If past tense is given, what should be the change? Any idea? Of course, there are rules, okay, like second, that is our second rule, okay, that's our second rule. When you come to past tense, simple past changes to past perfect. Then past continuous, second point in past tense is past continuous changes to past perfect continuous. And what about past perfect? No change. It should be as it is, no change. And what about past perfect continuous? Past perfect continuous, this also no change. Okay, so when you speak about past tenses, present tense, all present tenses change to corresponding past tense. Now when you come to past tense, simple past changes to past perfect. Okay, then past continuous changes to past perfect continuous. The last 2 points in past tense do not change. Past perfect does not change. Past perfect continuous also does not change. Okay, so for this also I'll give you example so that with examples it will be clear. Okay, now simple past tense. What if we use the same example? It will be easy, right? So she said, I wrote my notes. This is simple past tense. So right now, according to the rule, simple past should change to past perfect. Past perfect. Okay. So how will you change? She said that she had written my notes changes to her notes. Full stop. Okay. Remember, all those pronouns should change accordingly. Okay. So she said that she had written her notes. That means simple past tense changes to past perfect. Past perfect. Okay. Now, what about the second point? If it is past continuous. Okay. If it is past continuous, what change is to be made? Let us see. I was writing notes. I was writing notes. Past continuous. Past continuous. And according to the rule which we have discussed right now, past continuous should change to past perfect continuous. That means she had been writing notes. She had been writing notes. Alright, she had been writing notes. Now, the third and fourth points of past tense do not change. Past perfect, no change. Past perfect continuous also, no change. That means, again with the same sample, I had written notes. I had written notes. This is past perfect. And according to the rules that we have discussed, there is no change. There should not be any change when you convert past perfect to indirect speech. Okay, so what should be the answer? How will you change it? She said that she had, same thing, it's easy. She had written notes. Got it? Okay, same way, if this is past perfect continuous, again there is no change. If this is perfect, past perfect continuous means I had been writing notes. Here also she had been writing notes, there is no change. So I guess that need not be written on the board, right? It's clear. Past perfect and past perfect continuous tenses do not change. Okay, so that was our second rule. So what was the first rule? First rule means all present tenses would change to corresponding past tenses. When you come to past tense, second rule, simple past changes to past perfect. Okay, third form of past tense. Then past continuous changes to the fourth form of past perfect, past tense, that is past perfect continuous. And past perfect and past perfect continuous tenses do not change. Okay, so that was our second rule. Now guess what would be the third rule? Any idea? Third rule, future tenses changes to present conditional. You call it as present conditional. I'll give you just one example. She said, I will do this work. I will do this work. Future tense, right? It's future tense. So, how will you change it? She said that she would do, this changes to that work. So, how did I change this? Will changes to would. This changes to that. That's what you call future tenses change to present conditional. Okay. So, this was our third rule. Okay. Third rule. We spoke about changes in present tense, changes in past tense, and also in future tense. Okay. Now, in certain cases, that's our next rule. In certain cases, tenses do not change at all. That's our fourth rule. That is our fourth rule. Okay. Suppose we speak about a scientific fact. Scientific fact or universal truth. Scientific fact or universal truth, there will not be any tense change because scientific fact and universal truth remains the same throughout. There won't be any change. One example, while teaching, okay, maybe the geography teacher, she told the class, okay, so the teacher said, the earth is round. What type of sentence is this? The earth is round means it is a universal truth. It's a fact. It's a universal truth. It's a scientific fact. It's a universal truth. Okay. The earth is round. Okay. And we were told that all present tenses change to corresponding past tense. That was the first rule that we have learned. Okay, that means all present tenses change to corresponding past tenses. So here earth is round means it's a present tense, simple present tense. So that means according to the rules we are supposed to change that into corresponding past tense. That means we should say this: the teacher said that the earth was round. But that is against the scientific fact or universal truth. Why? Because if I change the tense and if I say that the teacher said that the earth was round, that means right now it is not round, it has changed its shape and now it has become oval or flat or square or like cone or any other shape. So that would change the scientific fact, right? It's universal truth. So always remember, when we speak about scientific facts or universal truth, the tense will not change. Keep that also firm in your mind. Okay, like the milk is white. Milk is white is simple present tense. If I change that into corresponding past tense saying that the milk was white, that means nowadays the milk is available in blue color, red color, green color, not white anymore. So that will be against that scientific fact, right? So that cannot be done. Remember, for all scientific facts or universal truths, there is no tense change, because if you try to change the tense, it would change the concept or it would change the scientific fact itself, okay, which is like inappropriate. So remember, for scientific fact or universal truth, there is no tense change. So how will you convert that into indirect speech? The teacher said that the earth is round, no tense change. Other changes are made. Okay, other changes like remove inverted commas and like add that. Okay, and tense is not changed. Okay, so this is our fourth rule, where there is no tense change. Okay, now in another occasion also there is no tense change. That will be our fifth rule. Okay, so like keep these things in your mind, because for exam you will be getting one sentence or two sentences which are to be converted, or else you have to find the exact conversion of direct to indirect or indirect to direct. So that time these rules will help you. Okay, so what if what about the fifth rule? See, if the reporting verb, you remember that word which I asked you to learn by heart, reporting verb. Okay, if the reporting verb is present tense or future tense, there is no tense change when you convert it into indirect speech. Okay, suppose if in the direct speech the reporting verb is in present tense or future tense, there also there is no tense change. Okay, example, she says I am busy. She says I am busy. This is simple present tense. Okay. Now remember, according to this rule, if the reporting verb, what is reporting verb? This one. This is reporting verb. If this reporting verb is in present tense, like this one, says, usually we have said, past tense. If it is in past tense, tense change is there, except for scientific truth and universal fact, universal truth and scientific fact. Okay. Now, if the reporting verb, this word, is in present tense or in future tense, like will say, she will say. She will say or she says. Okay. If it is in present tense or future tense, again there is no tense change. Tense cannot be changed. That also is one of the rules. That means when you convert it into indirect speech, just say that she says that she is busy. Only the pronoun changes there. no tense change. She says that she is busy. Suppose if it is, she will say I am busy. She will say that she is busy. Again, there is no tense change. Okay. So, fifth rule is reporting verb, this verb, if it is in present tense or in future tense, again, there is no tense change. Okay. Now, we will proceed to the next rule. Okay. All these things are given as short as possible, so that it will be easy for you to copy and follow. Okay. So, sixth rule. Now, when you convert question-like sentences, interrogative sentences from direct to indirect speech, what are the rules? That is our next rule. Okay. Interrogative sentence means asking questions. Okay. For interrogative sentences, what are the changes? Interrogative sentences also are of two types: WH questions and yes or no questions. Okay. WH questions means what? WH questions. WH questions means what, when, where, why, how. These are all WH questions for which we require an answer. Okay. So, those are WH questions. Okay. For WH questions, how will you convert direct to indirect? That is our point. That is our next rule. Okay. One example is, she said to me. Okay, this reporting verb is in past tense, so there will be tense change. Where do you live? This is interrogative sentence, WH question. Okay. She said to me, where do you live? She said to me, where do you live? Is a WH question. That means one of the types of interrogative sentences, and this is direct speech. Now, how will you change that into indirect speech? Okay, notice the changes. She said to me, where do you live? Actually, it's a question, right? So, said to me, when you convert it into indirect speech, you can just say, she asked me. She asked me. Not asked to me, but asked me. Okay, she asked me, then remove the commas, and usually we add or we connect using that. But for WH questions, do not use that or do not use any conjunction, any connecting word. Come straight. She asked me where do you live is simple present tense. Where I lived, simple past tense. Present tense corresponding change in past tense. Okay. So, tense changes there. Do you live is simple present tense, change that into simple past tense. So, how will you convert it? She asked me where I lived. Meaning, when you remove the inverted commas, do not add any conjunction, just like how we did for the previous ones. Okay. Like we added that and then we connected. Okay. But when we have WH questions, which is one of the interrogative types of questions, we do not use any connecting word or any conjunction. We go straight with the questioning word. Okay. Now, WH questions, one type. Then another type of question is yes or no question, or the questions which start with auxiliary verbs. Can, will, may, might, etc. etc. Okay. So, for such questions, how will you change into indirect speech? Okay. One example is, she said to me, will you come with me? Will you come with me? What type of question is it? It's not WH question. It is yes or no question. or the questions which started with auxiliary verbs. Will is an auxiliary verb. Okay, now for such types of questions, we have to add a connecting word, but not that. Okay, so remember, the first type of interrogative sentence is WH question, where no conjunction or no connecting word is used. You just ask directly, but tense changes there. Here also tense changes there. Okay, so this is yes or no question, or you call it as questions which started with an auxiliary verb. And for such types of questions, how will you convert this into indirect speech? She asked, it's again a question, so you can use that word asked me if I will changes to would. I would come changes to go. If I go with her. If I go with her. Okay, that means if or whether, any word could be used. If I or whether I go with her. Clear? Okay, so here WH questions or yes or no questions, there are changes regarding the connecting word, and that forms our sixth rule. So sixth rule also is clear. Okay, now other changes, the changes in models, that is our seventh rule, changes in the use of models. That means in the direct speech, if you have models used, those models, when you change it into indirect speech, those models will change. Okay, I'll make it clear. See, example. She said, I can do this. I can do this. So this is an auxiliary verb or models. You call it as changes in models. Changes regarding models. You call this as auxiliary verb or model auxiliaries or auxiliaries. Okay, or models, any word could be used, same thing. Now if you find an auxiliary verb or models in the direct speech, when you change it into indirect speech, there are changes. Okay, like when you change this, she said that she can changes to could. She could do this changes to that. So this can changes to could. So this modal verb changes to could. In that sense, the meaning is, which all things are changed, can changes to could, alright, may changes to might, must changes to had to. Okay, but at the same time, could, then would, might, ought to, these things do not change, no change. So remember, not all models, these models will change, and these will not change because these are in the changed form itself. Alright, so the seventh rule is, when you have modals or auxiliary verbs used in direct speech, and when you convert that direct speech into indirect speech, the models should change. Okay, like can should change to could, then may to might. Like, I may buy this dress. She said, I may buy this dress. So how will you change it? She said that she might buy that dress. Okay, so must changes to had to, could, would, might, ought to, no change because it's already in the changed form. So that is the seventh rule. Okay, now the final rule with which we can wind this up, okay, wind direct and indirect speech, that is our eighth rule, and that is the change in position and time. Okay, words denoting time and position changes. Okay, words denoting time and position or distance, better word, distance, change. These words change when you convert direct into indirect speech. So these are the words. I'll give a list of those words. Now changes to then. Do you remember the first example that we wrote, or I wrote on the board with which we started? I am busy now. She said, I am busy now. And when you change that into indirect speech, she said that she was busy then. So now changes to then. Okay. Then this changes to that. These changes to those. These to those. Thus, 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 to, so. Alright, here changes to there. Today changes to that day. She said, I am busy today. She said that she was busy that day. Today changes to that day. Okay, and yesterday changes to the day before or previous day. Okay, yesterday, previous day. Okay, then tomorrow changes to the day after or the next day. Not the day after, better word is the next day. The next day. Okay, then ago changes to before. If it is next week or next month, changes to following week or following month. These are the basic changes. So if you find in any of those sentences which are in direct form, if you find any of those words in, or these words in direct speech, and if you are asked to convert it into indirect speech, you need to make all these changes. Alright, now to then, this to that, these to those, thus, so, here, there, today, that day, yesterday, the day before or the previous day, okay, tomorrow, the next day, then ago, before, next week or next month, following week or following month. Okay, so right now we have completed the topic with 8 rules, basic rules. And what are those 8 rules? When you changed from direct to indirect, all present tenses change to corresponding past tenses. Then past tense, first 2 forms change to third and fourth form, and third and fourth form do not change. Okay, then future tense changes to present conditional. Alright, then if the reporting verb is in simple present tense like says, or in future tense will say, no tense change. If we speak about scientific fact or universal truth, again there is no change. And for question type of sentences, if it is WH questions, you need to go straight without using any conjunction. And if it is yes or no question, use a conjunction but not that. It is either if or whether. Okay, and then models also change. And then these words also change. So these are some of the basic things which you need to know all about your direct and indirect speech. Okay, based on which you will get questions for CUET 2023. Alright, so now the usual stuff, I said when we wind this up, or else before we complete the session, I'll be giving you a few idiomatic expressions along with its meaning. Like how I gave you last time a list of around 5 or 6 idioms. Okay, so every time when we have such list, it would be helpful for you to prepare for the exam. So this time also I'll give you some 4 or 5. Okay, so the first idiomatic phrase, okay, in the fast lane. I'll try to give you some rare idioms, but that doesn't mean that you don't know this. You might have heard this before, and you might know the meaning also. In the fast lane. That means to have a life full of excitement. To have a life full of excitement. One example will not be written on the board. It would be time consuming. Instead, I'll just tell you the example. See, for example, when Chris turned 40 years of age, he decided to live a life in the fast lane. So he quit his job and started pursuing his hobbies. Okay, so to have a life full of excitement is what we call in the fast lane. Example, once again, when Chris turned 40 years of age, he decided to live his life in the fast lane. That means full of excitement. And that is why he quit his job and started pursuing his hobbies. Now it's clear? Okay. Now the second one, this I guess you are familiar with this. Fish out of water. Like a fish out of water means what? To be out of your comfort zone, or to be in an uncomfortable situation. Okay, to be out of your comfort zone. Comfort zone. You were happy with whatever you had, and now from that comfort zone you got shifted and you become rather uncomfortable, and that is when you use that term fish out of the water. One example is when Jim changed his work and joined the new company, he felt like a fish out of the water in the new workplace. So it was a sudden change from the previous workplace to the new one, where he felt as if he has come out of his comfort zone. So Jim, when he joined the new workplace, his condition was exactly like that of a fish out of water, out of his comfort zone. Okay. Now third one is on thin ice. On thin ice. On thin ice means in a very risky situation. In a very risky situation. For example, he was sleeping. When he was supposed to work, he was sleeping. And when his boss found him sleeping, he found himself on thin ice. So he found himself on thin ice when his boss caught him or saw him sleeping when he was supposed to do work. So that is in a very risky situation. He may lose his job. So in a very risky situation, that is what we call on thin ice. Okay. Now next is under the weather. Under the weather means feeling sick, feeling ill. Okay, feeling sick or feeling ill. One example is my mom was a bit under the weather yesterday. So he was feeling ill. He was not so well. So yesterday my mom was a bit under the weather. So feeling ill or being sick is what we call under the weather. Okay. Then the next one is call it a day. That means to stop doing something or to complete a task. To complete, both are equally applicable. Complete a task. Okay, to stop doing something. One example is we went for a movie and we decided that after the movie we will go to the beach also. Okay, to have some time spent there. But later we decided to call it a day. Why? Because everyone was tired. So we thought of not doing that. We thought of stopping that. So to stop doing something. That means you change your decision and you decide not to do that. You stop doing it, and that's what you call it a day. You're done for the day, or else it's all over. You decided to stop that activity. We went for a movie and after that we thought of visiting the beach, but then we decided to call it a day because everyone was so tired that we were not in the mood to go to the beach. Okay, that is the idiomatic phrase called call it a day. Now one more, we'll have just one more. Make two ends meet. To make two ends meet. What is the meaning of to make two ends meet? That means to have just enough money or resources, money for all your needs. That means you do not have much, little, just that much which could be used for meeting your requirements or needs, not having much. Okay, one example is Harry was finding it too difficult to make two ends meet. Okay, that means he just had that much money with which he could fulfill his basic needs. So he did not have much. He did not have enough money to enjoy his life. He had only that much money with which he could fulfill his basic needs. Okay, so Harry was finding it too difficult to make two ends meet. See, remember, instead of two ends, it could even be make both ends meet. Both are same. Okay, so make two ends meet or make both ends meet. If you find any of these words around, that means it's the same idiom, which means to have just enough money with which you can complete all your needs. Okay, so today we have discussed the major thing that is on direct and indirect speech, and then I gave you a list of idiomatic expressions. 6 are there on the board along with meaning and how those idioms are to be used in sentences, that also is given. Okay, so with that we will wind this up, and very soon we will meet again with another session, and where also you will be given some basic rules on grammar, plus if possible a few more idioms like this. Okay, so see you soon. Thank you so much. Bye bye.